Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. And what's up, Joe?
Hey, what's up?
And we have Tony Allen, the man, the myth, the legend. What's up, Tony?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty well, man. I'm excited to get into this one. And I was trying to think, have you been on the podcast before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you've been around. Been around for years.
Right.
Well, glad you're here, man. So let's. A lot of people, are probably at least familiar with who you are, especially if they're in the Facebook group. You're throwing down some awesome PRs, amazing progress. But, I'll let you do the introductions for, what you do for a living, how you train, all that good stuff.
All right, cool. So basic intro, I'm a Marine. I've been in the Marine Corps for 21 years as of, I want to say 2 days ago. Been having a blast so far. I was both enlisted, now I'm an officer. I can definitely say that, man, opportunities I've been given by my service in the Marine Corps has been pretty much unmatched by anything else that I thought I would ever be able to get, have an opportunity of doing. Currently, I'm doing my payback tour at MCTISA. As an electrical engineering billet. MCTISA stands for Marine Corps Tactical System Support Activity. And it's over at Camp Pendleton, California. This is my second time being stationed over at Camp Pendleton in my Marine Corps career. Currently, I'm on the enduro track, and I'm still making street gains. I'm loving it. And we're also doing some bro sessions kind of sprinkled in until there just to get my physique where I need to have that in terms of, like body composition, weigh-ins, and things like that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that. So, where are you training primarily? Garage? You traveling a bit? Like, where's training happening for you?
Training is 100% in my gym. I did have one stint when I went TAD for a week and I was miserable. Couldn't wait to get back home.
That's awesome, man. And what's your equipment setup like?
Currently, I can walk. Want me to show you?
Yeah, you can show us around, and I'll call a few things out. Because
cool.
Some people are listening only, so.
All right, good to go. So, yeah, I got a reverse hyper here. This thing has been just a valuable piece of rehab machinery I have in my gym since I had my slip disc injury back in July 2018. Has some power blocks there. This is the oldest piece of equipment I have here. This is pretty much a hyper extension machine. We got this back when we first started our gym back in 2012. A DIY plyo box. I forgot where I got the plans from. That thing is money. One of the first pieces of equipment that we built as well. Of course, I got the Concept 2 Trifecta, the Model C. That was the first piece of equipment I did get.
The Trifecta.
My wife, long story about her, but once she got her disability rating, she promised me she's going to get me the bike erg. And I said, you know what? Because I can't really run right now. I also need the ski erg. She said that wasn't a part of the deal. I'm like, yeah, but you got to squeeze it in there. And she did. So we got both of those back before the pandemic ran off. I have a Titan Fitness wall-mounted pull-up bar. Love that thing. Get a lot of use on there. Need to retape the bar. And, of course, I got a Rogue Echo. That was a recent upgrade I did during the pandemic. Went ahead and sold my old Swin 86. Got that. I have, again, that's a barbell over in the corner. Do this from time to time. And, of course, here goes the centerpiece of the gym as far as my Titan X3 power rack. I have a 24-inch extension with all my plates and everything else, jammer arms, of course, wide dip attachment, straps, and then also, too, I have my GAC You got to forgive the bag on there. It's not a trash bag at all. I have some stuff in there that I just need to go through. Then, of course, I got my flat bench. I do all my flat bench work with. And also, I have this recent addition of the Rep Fitness Zero Gap bench. And that's pretty much it.
That is awesome. So you pretty much have everything, which is great. You have a great setup, and I definitely want to get that. I mean, you got the Airdyne and then the Concept 2 trifecta. That's awesome, man. You're really crushing it. So what was the big reason behind starting a garage gym?
It was really during my transition to my senior year in college when I was in the enlisted to commissioner program when I was going to the University of North Florida. In a local box that me and my wife were going to. It was great. They had a really, really good training program as far as, like seeing real successful gains in both strength and cardio conditioning and things like that. But it just got to the point of our schedules didn't really meet up with the times that they had the gym open anymore. So it was like, all right, well, instead of just putting that money aside to paying the box, like every month, let's go ahead and just buy us a power rack. And we did. And that's when I made my first mistake. I started seeing that, you get what you pay for and all power racks aren't created equal. But anyway, in 2012, that's when it started. Just so we could start working out at our own time, our own schedule.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so let's go to that comment real quick. So, I started in the DIY route. You're talking about you get what you pay for. When it's made of wooden 2x4s, that's pretty tough stuff, and it doesn't last forever. Right. And I'd love to hear about some of your experience, because it sounds like you have experience with a lot of different equipment. What have you found is kind of like some of the best buys for, quality, for a company that's going to last for a long period of time?
Especially for the weight you're pushing.
Right, yeah. So I can definitely say there's been in the other home gym community that we're all a part of, home gym reviews, whatever else, there's like pretty much, like this huge divide between some people, they believe in a hype behind a reverse hyper. And my mind always goes to, if you never ever experience like disc deterioration or any kind of deteriorated disc, I guess, syndromes or disorders or anything else in your back, you will never understand the true value of having one of these in your gym at all. I used to see these from time to time in the gyms. I never knew what it was for until I had a slip disc injury, and I just pursued that. I could definitely say one company that gets a lot of flack, and I think a lot of us hear about it, is Titan Fitness, just because of their quality. I guess their quality control isn't always there 100%. Funny story, when I first bought my Titan X3 rack, they ended up sending me pretty much half my flat foot rack, but then they also ended up sending me another box for like uprights for the original X3 rack. And I called them up, they made it right, but of course I had to wait for them to ship it to me for a whole another week. So I pretty much went pretty much 2 weeks trying to like get all my parts to my rack. But once I got it, that rack is solid. I see a lot of people, they go towards, a certain kind of manufacturers because of a name, and also too, possibly because of the attachments. But I want to definitely say, if you're realistic with your actual needs versus your wants, you can definitely go with Titan Fitness. And there is some new and coming other kind of manufacturers from what I've seen out there, like Frey Fitness and things like that. They're actually putting some very good quality equipment out there for a fraction of the price that you would pay at either Serenix or even Rogue. Rep Fitness, they have some bargains, but after you factor in the shipping, I just tell people, instead of going with Rep, you might as well go up to Rogue, just because of the price you're paying, like compared between the product and also shipping. I would just go full price with Rogue, just because of they have a faster turnaround as far as, getting equipment out to you and everything else. And then also the customer service is proven. And also too, like, they manufacture the majority of equipment here in the U.S. versus Rep. They have to wait for their manufacturer to get them equipment via China and everything else. Okay, sorry.
No, that's awesome. I think that's good to know. And Joe, you have your outdoor rack that was a Titan, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually have almost the same exact experience you did with your rack. Is that mine showed up? I think it was missing a box. It took them like 3 weeks to send me the next box because they were out of stock, and it was like really frustrating because like I have part of my rack but I can't use it. But now 2.5 years of outdoor squatting and a T3 rack, and my wife and I can squat at the same time, and it's held up. And I have mid 300s or low 300s that I'd squat too, and it's been just fine.
Awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, what's impressed me most about you is just, you've been around for a long time, but not only that, you continue to see progress and, continue to hit PRs. It's almost every PR week we have. I see Tony roll in with like a new PR in some capacity, and I think that's amazing, man. So I just want to hear, kind of what your goals are right now and how you keep seeing so much progress.
Well, I think the number one reason why I continue to see progress is just because I stay committed. I stay consistent with the programming, even though, even as you consistently say, like the hardest part of doing Garage Gym Athlete training is putting the data back into, like the app. Because I write everything. I always get a memo book. Like every time, like a new week starts out, usually on Sunday, sometime during Sunday after we finish doing church and everything else here at the house, or we do whatever we do for family time and things like that throughout the day. Before I hit the rack, I write out the whole week in my memo book. So anyway, I don't have to go back into the app anymore. All I do is bring up my phone and I set the music on and I just go with it. But the other thing is just, being realistic with, the weight that I know I can push. I wish we would program more. I want to say, cleans? As far as that progression, because the thing about it is that I every time we have cleans come up, and I know you did say you were going to take them off for fit week and things like that, but I just know like the way you program, like squats, the way you program deadlifts and everything else, I'm going to always see gains there because I've been training throughout the entire cycle. Unlike, like the cleans, it's like, okay, we might do cleans here, there, here, and here. But then when I think about putting 265 pounds plus on that bar and trying to clean it up, I'm like, I don't feel that. I can probably pull, like, even as you guys saw, like that 500 pounds in the deadlift, like, because I've been training, but that 265 is like, I do not feel like getting my collarbone hit with all that weight because I just don't feel like, maneuvering that weight up. But I mean, that's just me, like if I want to train on my own, I can the same way how we do the other training and things like that. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm taking a long way around to answer your question. But the number one reason why I can definitely say is staying consistent, rest. I'm really big on my rest. In terms of just trying to make sure I get at least 6 hours of sleep a night. I'm trying to get that golden, like 7 to 8 hours around there. And then also to my nutrition. Even as I just talked about in the Murph 52 group, talking about the bone broth protein, that stuff has really just, I can say, revitalized my recovery. Post-workout, even going into the next day, my joints that used to ache from time to time, I didn't really think they were achy joints. I just thought it was just like, like achy, like muscles, this and that and everything else just from, like just doing like so much work, and the volume we had going on. But it really turned out to just be my joints because of the collagen additive that they had in there within the supplementation. Because I went to the vitamin shop and I got it. And the salesman, he was telling me that, like there's a reason why, like Americans, we have so much more issues, with our joints, and it's a whole lot of other like diseases going on. And he was telling me that, like us as Americans, we don't eat soup as much as we used to. And he really started talking back to like, like eating bone marrow and things like that. I remember we used to do that when I was a kid growing up. My grandmother, she used to like just throw like a whole chicken, or she would just throw like something inside the pot along with, like some freshly cut vegetables, produce, and everything else she cut up. And we had like two meals out of that. And we don't even do that anymore, But anyway, that stuff has been like really, really just, I can definitely say a vital part of my recovery, especially like running Murph this past week. My joints never felt better. Doing the air squats, I was able to like just to ease through all the, it just felt like everything was just easy. And I had to like, I've transitioned over to doing Murph with the rowers since I pretty much PR'd with the bike herd, doing 2 miles per. But now I was trying to do with the roar, but I just knew like, okay, well, you know what? Me and my wife, we got to get out somewhere within like 45 minutes. It'll take me like 30 minutes, 35 minutes tops to get Murph done. And I was able to get it done in like 30 minutes and 14 seconds with the biker, just like doubling up, like 2 miles per. And I really wanted to get back on the roar. But when I was up there doing it, unvested, I just felt like everything just moved so much better. Like just my shoulders, my push-ups, everything, air squats and all that, my knees and everything just felt great. So nutrition is like definitely like a big one right there.
Yeah, nutrition and sleep will go a long way. Are you talking about that Equip protein?
Someone asked
the Prime
about Equip.
protein?
I don't really know the exact name of it. I took a picture of it, but from what I just remember, the key thing that they were talking about was like collagen, collagen and the protein and things like that. And I'm like, that was one of the biggest things I was just like focusing on collagen, for anyone, like going through any kind of joint issues. I know for me, it's been like very, very vital towards my recovery.
Awesome. All right. Now, what were you doing? You kind of mentioned something there, but I mean, you've been a Marine for, you said 21 years. So what were you doing before this style of training that you're doing now with us?
Okay, so what I was doing before is that, I think most people in the military, even you guys can attest to, hey, just go out and run, run forever, come back, do calisthenics, whatever else, beat your body into submission to whatever the PFT is or whatever your physical fitness test is. And then, if you want to see real strength gains, try to still add, weight training in there. Because you can't be like these powerlifters running around with these big guts, and not being able to, execute our tests, our PT tests, effectively. You got to be conditioned and well-rounded between calisthenics, running, anywhere between 1 to 3 miles, or for the Marine Corps, 3 miles and things like that. So I was going out, I was running pretty much 6 miles 3 times a week. I would come back, do probably a very, very limited probably a robust piece of what do they call Cindy when you do 5, 10, 15, pull-ups, push-ups, and sit-ups and things like that. I think it is something like that. But anyway, and then after that, I have my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and sometimes Thursday. Monday I do muscles. I do my chest and my biceps, and then Tuesday I do my shoulders and my triceps, and I just keep on doing things like that. And also too, I work out back to make sure I can not only maintain, my back strength, but also too a back physique and just overall physique for my body and what I'm used to it looking like, and just having pretty much that epitome of what a Marine should look like in uniform, in and out of uniform at all times. And I mean, it served me well for a little while, but I just got to the point of I started plateauing. I never really saw any real improvement. I just saw that I was just staying consistent in everything I was doing.
Yeah, I got it. And you said you sprinkle some of that stuff, the physique stuff, back in right now. Is that right?
Well, yeah.
Sexy Saturday.
Yeah. So how do you, I'm sure some other athletes are interested. So how do you add that into Garage Gym Athlete programming?
So what I do usually, I pretty much do 2-a-days. I've been trying to think about either doing it during lunch while I'm at work. Because, being a Marine, being on base, I can just go to the base gym or just coming back home. Now, I pretty much defaulted just towards doing it at home after I finish eating. Just because eating dinner, because usually with those build sessions, it's I don't have to go out and run. I don't have to do anything else. So even if I just got finished eating with food on my stomach, I can still come out here and push some weight and not throw up everywhere, versus, doing endure, trying to do some kind of crazy endurance cycle. But anyway, I just come out here and I pretty much get the bar, warm up, around probably anywhere between 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And I just go ahead and do my flat bench, incline bench, decline bench session. That only takes probably at the most 25, 30 minutes. And after that, I finish it off with, some bicep work. And I mean, in this paying off, even when I just recently changed my profile picture on Facebook, I had half my family and some of my friends man, I didn't know you had guns like that. Dude, okay, I've always had biceps like this, but I don't know, just me training them specifically, and also to my triceps and everything else, is that they're starting to stick out a lot more. And I didn't really notice it until people start saying it. And then I start noticing my wife started giving me more attention too. And it was kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, that's how I just sprinkle it in. But I don't do too much. I only do probably Monday through Thursday. And that's pretty much it. I still follow my old team maneuver that I used to do back in the day, Monday, chest and buys, Tuesday, shoulders and tries. And then say for instance, last week, we had a chest workout program that Endure, but I wasn't overtraining my chest. I was still able to actually do the chest training that we had programmed last week, even though I trained chest earlier in that week. So I do something that I know that's manageable for me. Then also too, it's not gonna put me in a hurt locker and put me into the realm of overtraining. I can't say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think with moderate bodybuilding type stuff, or even if you're just extra aerobic work on a bike, things like that, typically don't lead you to overtraining. But it's like the CrossFit stuff. You want to go hard all the time. That's where overtraining is going to happen real fast. But I think,
Okay, that makes more sense.
What you're hitting is perfect, man. And that's great that you're seeing such good results from it. So how do you like training in your garage?
I love it. I just hate the fact of I'm just thinking about like the next time that I might have to go travel somewhere because of the job that I'm doing right now. It's going to position me in a place to possibly go off to another location because in my billet right now, I'm involved in a lot of testing and evaluation, pretty much certification of systems, before they hit the fleet, Marine Force, or even if it is some systems that they actually exist in fleet Marine Force. But okay, so when I had to leave the first week of March, like I was saying, I was miserable. I hope that don't ever happen again. And even though the pandemic is around right now and everyone kind of hate it, I kind of love it because of the fact of the matter is that it makes me like pretty much train at home a whole lot more, and it prevents me from like kind of like traveling out. Not to sound heartless or disconnected from what's actually going on. It's really real what's going on out there, but I just know that it really has lined me up to really benefit a lot from like training more from home, being able to dial in my rest and everything as well.
That's awesome, man. All right, here it comes. What's the hardest workout you've ever done?
I had a couple of answers for this one, but I guess you only going like I'm long-winded, so wow. Can I give you all four of them? All
Go
four
for
of them,
it.
like the previous. All right, cool. So I remember I have a football and track and field, like background from when I was in high school. I remember like in my junior or my senior year in high school, football practice one year, our football coaches, they say, you know what? Y'all gonna pay the man today. Y'all gonna get it. It's like, what's going on? They say, y'all gonna do gassers. It's like, what are gassers? And we pretty much had on full pads, helmet and all, and it was blazing hot outside. This is in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I'm from originally. I should have said it in the very beginning. But anyway, is that we had to start like pretty much at the sideline. And like pretty much like the tack marks between like the sideline until like the right side, and then you had like the middle tick mark, and then you had the far tick mark, and then you had to go all the way up to the other end, the other far end sideline, and just run all the way back. We pretty much had to do a variation of suicide using like the hash marks on the football field, and we did those to no end, and it was just awful. I remember like we all wanted to die, and it was hot. And it was brutal. That was the hardest workout I ever did for football during that time frame. And then I could definitely say another period of time in high school when I was running summer track as well. I remember our track and field coach, he told us, I used to run with AAU and USATF back in the day during high school time frame, during off season. But anyway, he told us, hey, I want you guys to learn how to run without air. Like, what does that mean? So he had us actually running like 600-meter repeats with it was about like a 1 minute rest in between each one. And we all wanted to die. I think we was averaging probably like around a good like minute 20, probably like a minute 20, probably like a minute 30 per. Because I think we all pretty much baseline had like a good 400-meter time of around 55, 56 minutes, 55, 56 seconds, somewhere around there. But I remember just passing up that 400-meter, like you being a track and field runner, and just remember, like when you pass that finish line, at 400 meters, your body and your mind is like, I'm done. But no, I got to go an extra 200 meters around this track. And I remember like that was terrible. Next, I can definitely say during my enlisted time in the Marine Corps, I also did search and rescue when I was over at Cherry Point. And I also had the opportunity to go to the Aviation Rescue Swimmer School while I was down there. And I remember we used to have like SPNC events, or pretty much like we'd do dry land physical conditioning, which was awesome. They just play us out on the beach all the time over at Pensacola, Florida. But then when they get us into the pool, they're always like they just intimidate us. You have like these older guys, older civilians. They be like, these older guys have like these handlebar, like old biker mustaches, beards, and everything else going on. And they used to mess with us a lot. It was just to pretty much like get people to quit, or like just to try to get us hardened or whatever else have you. They was all pretty much like prior rescue swimmers in the Navy. But anyway, is that after they finished like spinning probably the drill, I don't even know how long it'd be, but after they finished pretty much doing like the pool was 25 meters long. So anyway, they have us like do a 25-meter sprint, you know, go down once. And then they have us do that probably like 3 or 4 times. And after that, they have us do 50 meters. So you go down and back. They have us do 75, and then they have us do 100. And then after that, they're still like backs up against the wall. And then you would have like these older guys like, uh-oh. And then like you would just hear their voices like echoing off the wall. Like, man, this is going to suck. And then they have us like look over to the left, and we had count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And they said, 1's backs to the wall, 2, stay where you at. And 2 would kind of like stay up like off the wall or whatever. And then they have us do like 25-meter underwater sprints. And staying underwater, it took you a while to get used to it because they wanted to build up pretty much like our confidence and being able to endure staying under the water with our mask on for a certain amount of time without freaking out, you know. But anyway, I remember is that it wasn't a 25-meter underwater sprint that jacked us up. It was when they said 25-meter sprint servicing one time. So when you got used to like swimming up underneath the water and you got used to like kind of like tracking, you know, at the bottom of the pool, then you had to bring yourself up. You had to like surface, take in like a mouthful of air and come back down. That was the hardest. And that used to break a lot of people. But we all got through it though. But that was pretty hard. I'm narrowing it down here. I got 2 more to go. I'm sorry. I know I'm long-winded.
You're all good. You're all good.
All right. Next, when I was doing OCS prep, when I was going to college, back then, I want to say probably like 2009, 2010 time frame, because we had to go to OCS like during like the summer of 2010. I went there for a first or second, I think it was, second increment. I remember the guys came back from first increment, they hated life. But anyway, in order to get ready for it, for the Marine Corps OCS, they want for officers to successfully complete OCS. Every officer has to do, male officer has to do a time O course in less than 2 minutes. I said, okay, cool. In order to get all of us ready for that, they had us pretty much do 4 rounds per time. We had to run the entire Marine Corps obstacle course with the rope climb and everything else included, which wasn't for a lot of us males, it wasn't a big issue because a lot of us, you know, we had the upper body strength and everything else to achieve that. And we all had our rope climbing down, especially for a lot of the prior enlisted guys. And then after we got done with that, we had to go off, run a mile, come back and do it all over again. That workout used to like it took forever. And I remember like, it wasn't so much as hard as in terms of, you know, like not being able to physically do it, but it just took forever. And it just, when I even think about it, like I would never do that again in my life. I would never program that. If I ever wanted to do the O course, I would just like work on certain parts by myself. I don't have to worry about trying to run a mile in between running this thing. But anyway, I think me and another guy, most of us, we pretty much all had our 1 mile and our 1 O course time down to like 1:26. And we all thought everyone was going to go to OCS like that until we invited pretty much like all the other ROTC, naval ROTCs down to do like what we call the Invictus Challenge. And we had like an O course relay. And I was the first guy out of the B team because they told us like, hey, if you guys are going to OCS, you guys are going to have a team. It's like, we don't want to have a team. We just want to come here and help. Like, no, you don't have a team. So I was the first guy that went for the B team. So I sprinted through the entire thing. And I thought everyone else was right behind me because of the way we trained. Like we trained like that. We all pretty much like, you know, like pushed each other to keep on going. But then when I got done going through the first guy, like all these people like had their mouths dropped and it was like complete silence. And they all had their eyes big as quarters. Like, oh my gosh, this dude just like destroyed the O course. It's like, y'all all can't do this. I thought everybody was trained like this. But it was just because our officer who was in charge of us, when I was going to Jackson University, he had us all trained like that. But I mean, it really like blew my mind as far as, you know, like how well he trained us to actually accomplish that event. All right. So then last but not least, the hardest work I've ever done, like currently this stage in my life, has to be hands down broken arrow.
Yeah.
I completed every single time, but my God, it's just when you look at everything, every partition within it, it's like, man, I need to like make sure, even as you said, the first time you briefed it, we had to make sure I had at least like 2 hours. 2 hours set aside on Saturday morning to get this thing done because it's just brutal. Just like the amount of work you got to put into it and everything you got to get done, it's awful. I love it. And it's just, it's just one of those that just, that test you mentally overall, because sometimes you have like those mind games like, man, I can just give up right now. I can stop right now because my wife, I think I hear her calling me, so I can go in and help her do something. Like, oh
You need some
no,
help
she's
in there?
not. Yeah, and that's exactly how it be. But yeah, I can definitely see a broken arrow. That's definitely where it's at for me.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And what I was thinking of when you were talking about doing that O course with like do the O course, run a mile, and like how the biggest part of that was just not necessarily how hard it was, just the time. That's how I feel about Broken
Yeah,
Arrow. Is like I'm just
yeah,
like, yeah, I can do all this, but man, it's just taking forever. Like it's a lot of work to get through,
mhm,
for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Now, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
It took me a while to think about this, but I can definitely say after being in the Marine Corps and just like being around people in general, being married for, thank God for, going on 19 years now. It's just that train to really understand your faults and then try to improve. And one of the things I was thinking about, like the first way you can actually do that is pretty much do self-reflection. Then also too, allowing people close to you in your life. Like sometimes somebody, they might point out something too, like, well, you know what, every time this happens, you always do this, like what? And instead of being, combative or trying to like come against what they're saying, like, you know what, let me see if there's some truth to this. And then also too, and trying to like have a mentor in your life as well that can speak to you, to encourage you to accomplish your goals and everything else like that too. And that was one of the things I was just thinking about. I hope that like hits the mark to the question that you were asking.
Yeah, I think that takes a lot of grit to not only realize your faults, but act on them and try and improve. I think that's
Right.
perfect. Now, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
True form trainer.
Nice.
I want one. I was hearing some guys talking about like having a true form trainer, and some guys actually attested to, like how, some of them who actually have like some kind of like back pain and everything else. And I wish mine was just back pain, but the disc deterioration that I have like on my lower back, even like the chiropractor before, like they just like stopped everything here on base as far as, like PT and everything else. He had me like, he did an overall assessment outside of my body, and he was saying, like, I can just even see like, like the slight scoliosis you have in your back. Like, okay, so is that why like I can actually feel like my discs like hitting each other when I run? Like, yeah, that's probably it. Like, man, that sucks. But anyway, is that I've been seeing some guys that were saying that, that they've been able to see some tremendous success from actually incorporating a true form trainer back into their schemes so they can actually start running again. And it helps minimize, like the back pain they experience while they're running, things like that. Because I can definitely say, like, not to go too far off subject, I'm sorry, I know I'm long-winded, but I can say over the years, I guess, the way I used to train and everything else, and also doing search and rescue, jumping off helicopters and everything else, which is fun. But I think it, like in the long run, especially too, like being an officer and like hiking and with all that, pretty much 100 plus pounds on my back and everything else in the Quantico Highlands, it pretty much like destroyed my back. And I think right now is that one of the things that what I've seen is that when I was going to a physical therapist when I was up in Monterey, California, when I was going to Naval Postgraduate School, they had me also doing a running clinic, and they were telling me that I run like a duck. I was like, what does that mean? And they videotaped me, and they said, like, yeah, you're running kind of like weird. So from what I saw from that is that I had some running pain up there as well, but not to the extent what I have down here. But what I saw is that, like, if I can possibly work on my running mechanics and get better at it, it'll probably help my overall like back and everything else better cope with my the need to run, and then that helped me probably overall like get to a position of being able to run without that pain or without feeling my discs hit each other and everything else. I don't know, but that's one of the hopes that I have, because I don't want to go down the road of having like surgery or letting them put things in my back or like altering anything, because my PT up there, she told me that very important piece of information. She was a sergeant major. She retired out of the Army, and she told me that, I wish I would have never let them cut on my back, because they left behind so much scar tissue, and then they didn't even improve anything. They just made things worse. And now I got this metal on my back that I can't get rid of. I got a whole lot of scar tissue back there. I can't move like I used to. Wow, that sucks.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful. I'm holding out for it.
Surgery is a huge risk. You never know what's going to happen when they open you up, or if it's going to be correctly done. And and everything else. So the longer you can hold off on that, the better. But you mentioned the reverse hyper. That's been pretty helpful with your back issues.
Oh yeah, it has been tremendously. As far as like just pumping. I mean, well, most people they know as far as like that traction, like getting that good blood flow and everything else back there. It's been very, very helpful. Sometimes like I'll reach like during training for a GGA is that I run out of time in the morning and I just have time to stretch, whatever else have you, and I run out of time to do my reverse hyper and I can feel it. I can feel when I run out of time using this. So I just got to make sure that I just make time for it. I have to sacrifice daily to use this at least no less than 3 times a week.
Awesome. All right, Tony. Well, there's a lot of garage gym athletes out there listening. I would love to know what your best advice for them would be.
Stay consistent. Regardless of what the scale or your timer says, stay the course. Stay consistent.
Awesome, man. Well, Tony, it's so awesome having you in the community, man. Like I mentioned, you have been super consistent. You've been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of results. And I just appreciate you inspiring others in the community and being consistent, putting in the work, man, and being around.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Both you and Joe, y'all dedication, and even adding like Cal and just pretty much like the core of coaches you guys have is definitely a proven product. And I thank God for it because you guys are keeping me consistent. I'm looking at doing this for the long haul. I just can't wait till I can retire like within the next 3 years and I'll still be doing garage gym athlete wherever my house may be after I retire in the Marine Corps.
That's awesome, man. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.